everyone, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's Weekly Horoscope. My name is Terence Scardino. The week begins on Monday, February the 18th, and this is going to be a very active week planetary-wise, triggering a lot of events, a lot of activity. Now, part of the main reason is there's going to be a full moon on Tuesday, and this full moon is going to be in Virgo. Virgo's this work-oriented energy, so a lot of work projects could come to a head, a lot of time of culmination. But this is a time when we could be really reacting emotionally, and many times with the full moon, which will be Tuesday into Wednesday, it can also be a time not only of bringing things to culmination and to light, but also could be letting go of those patterns, those projects, relationships that have outlived their purpose. Now, on Monday, the sun, very early in the morning, is maybe late Sunday, very early Monday, and this depends on where you are in the world. But the sun is going to be shining its light in a very favorable way to innovative, exciting Uranus. This could be really thinking out of the box, coming up with original ideas, wanting to really reinvent yourself, shake things up in an exciting way. As Venus, however, is aligned with Saturn. Now, if there wasn't any other energies going on, Venus, Saturn, Venus is love, relationships. Saturn could be a little bit too constricting, too controlling, and would really test and hurt relationships, but only hurt relationships that are weak. But since we have this exciting Sun-Uranus energy, that Venus-Saturn can then be very favorable for being very focused with business matters, financial matters, as you're trying to go into a whole exciting new direction, but keeping grounded, keeping practical. Also, this is very favorable for artists because the Venus can be the creative vision and Saturn can give you the discipline and control to turn it into reality. And you're not going to be stuck and overly critical that Venus-Saturn might be because you're being all excited. We're shaking things up with the Sun-Uranus. Later in the day, actually about 4:30 in the afternoon, if on the west, in the Pacific Standard Time here in California, the sun is leaving a quirky, innovative, friendly Aquarius and moving into Pisces. And so you'll feel this big kind of energy shift. Pisces, well, the Aquarius energy overall tends to be more mental, more intellectual, more detached. And as we go into Pisces for the next 4 weeks, it's more of the heart, more the imagination, more the in the heart rather than in the head of Aquarius. But as the sun moves into Pisces, then the next day, as the moon is moving into Virgo, there's the full moon on Tuesday, with the effects certainly lasting into Friday, into Wednesday. Now, at the very beginning of the day, Pacific Standard Time, Mercury, discerning decision-making Mercury, is aligning with Neptune. Gotta stay grounded here, particularly with the full moon. That could trigger a lot of emotional reactions because on the positive, Mercury, the intellect with inspiring Neptune, can be highly creative. It can also stir the imagination and also the intuition, becoming more psychic or just more empathetic to those around us. But it can also be a time that you're living in the dream world and too much fantasy, and so you could be making unwise decisions if you're not being really practical with your choices. But later in the day, more towards the end of Tuesday, then everyone's going to be okay for the most part, because now Mercury is leaving dreamy, imaginative Neptune earlier in the day and later in the day. So certainly into Wednesday, that mid-Tuesday, late Tuesday Pacific Standard Time into the first half of Wednesday. And that's the strongest energy. Now discerning communication Mercury is favorable with pragmatic, focused, disciplined Saturn. Excellent for business. So a lot of things are going to start coming to a head, and maybe letting go of what's not working and really starting to break through of what you want this Tuesday, Wednesday. And with the Mercury to the Neptune, you might be all excited and dreamy, but also maybe unsure. But then you're getting yourself grounded with the Mercury Saturn Tuesday into Wednesday. Great for business, great for learning, being very focused. And of course, the full moon is in Virgo, and Virgo is also going to help keeping us very practical, analytical, logical. So I think actually that Mercury-Neptune might actually be a really good thing to help us see a bigger vision and not get so locked into some tight little box. By Friday, Mercury is now in tension with expansive Jupiter. On the positive, if you're staying grounded, you're going to be feeling a lot of optimism. It's good for traveling, making long-range plans, good for marketing. But if you're not grounded, then the Mercury-Jupiter can indicate a day when you are having inflated expectations. It's sort of like going over the top. But it's also a day when Venus, the planet of relationships, but also desire, is aligning with compulsive Pluto. So this can be for some of you with relationships, whether taking it to the next level or meeting somebody new and falling in love. And then the Mercury-Jupiters, you're feeling all expansive and hopeful. So there's a lot of passion and intensity. You just make sure you're staying level-headed and a lot can progress. This can be also very favorable for not only for relationships, but also artists, because the Venus is that creative energy. So there's a lot of this, a lot of passion, however, a lot of hopeful passion. And this can be directed, it could be directed in sports, in studying and researching. This is just an energy that whatever your life is doing, you can really ride the wave. Just make sure you're keeping realistic. Because remember, we're also in dreamy, idealistic Pisces, the sun in Pisces. And by Saturday, now the Mercury, decision-making Mercury, is going to be excellent with Pluto. Pluto's the underworld. So that Mercury with Pluto, we're able to probe more deeply. Great for studying, researching, therapy. Also really exploring the underworld, not just of psychology, but astrology. And you might even really tapping into your psychic intuitions. So this is a lot of activity. I would say overall, it's a very positive week that a lot can be accomplished. Just stay grounded and sensible, and you can accomplish a lot in many different directions. Now, before I sign off, I want to remind you I'm available for the one-question offer for a nominal fee. You can find a direct link to order it in the description box underneath the video. The time of birth is always really important, even if it's an approximation. And if you can put the birth information in with your question, it'll just make sure I have it all accurate. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, have a great week.